Hi y'all, my name is Francesca and this is my brother Victor.
Yes, it's to be better, not bitter. That we are gonna work on taking something really hard and making ourselves better from it.
18-year-old Victor Pauca is living with an incredibly rare condition.
When Victor was around 6 months old, my mom, who is a former special ed teacher, started to notice that he wasn't reaching his developmental milestones. And she just started to wonder if something was different. And from then, they started to search for a diagnosis. So he was diagnosed in 2007 with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. He was 2.5 years old, and he was one of the first people in the world to be diagnosed with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome.
Pitt-Hopkins is a neurodevelopmental disorder caused by a mutation of the gene TCF4 on the 18th chromosome. Obviously, this can have huge effects on an individual. Much of this is seen through developmental delays.
The diagnosis was a shock to Victor's parents.
Really devastating. Both of us just felt like this dark cloud had settled down over us. And, when we would have good things happen to us, we'd think, oh yeah, but Victor has Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, during that time. It really took a couple of years.
Day-to-day life with Victor is a team effort.
Different people take on different tasks, and one by one, we pick it all up and we do it together. My dad does a lot of the early morning tasks. He gives him a bath every morning. He washes his hair every other day. It really requires full assistance in the bath. He gets him out of bed. He lets him pick out music right here. My brother loves that routine of listening to his favorite music.
Victor has several machines that keep him healthy.
So he has a vest that shakes him, essentially shakes him. It inflates and shakes him to kind of just shake up the phlegm in his lungs. And then he also uses a machine called a cough assist.
He has some inhalers he does, and then he has to be suctioned from that because he can aspirate on a lot of saliva after he brushes his teeth and things like that. And he has oxygen in case he needs it. He's had to use it when he's gotten back home from the hospital. We have a pulse ox monitor. We can monitor his oxygen level when he's sick.
Victor takes various medicines daily.
It really takes a long time. He takes so many medicines. You prepare his tube, you fill it with water, and you prepare his syringes, a new syringe every day, different syringe for different uses.
When he was younger, Victor ate food. Now he requires feeding tubes.
Well, he has 4 feedings a day. He takes a formula called Kate Farms. He can't eat or drink anything by mouth. He has dysphagia, so it will go down the wrong pipe, essentially.
This transition was an adjustment.
We had to realize that that wouldn't make Victor's life less fulfilled or less wonderful. It would just be different.
Used to really like to put his little hand in a bag of chips and eat some from that. So we just don't have we don't have bags of chips at home, and we try to avoid that just because we don't want him to think, oh yeah, that's what I used to do,
The whole routine of just from Victor waking up to getting through all of his medicines takes, how long would you say?
About 1.5 hours.
Takes a really long time.
Victor's health can be unstable.
He's gotten fairly sick, very sick, honestly, in recent years. A disability that can cause complications that can be life-threatening, severe GI issues. Victor has ended up in the hospital several times from such severe problems with that, and he has a lot of allergies that are life-threatening as well.
Victor is nonverbal.
But he does have one word that he uses all the time. It's kind of like uh-huh, and that means yes. And so we can ask him any yes or no question, which is so helpful. But in addition to that, he also does grunt and make other noises that my family understands really well. He'll make these noises or grunt in different tones in order to indicate his different emotions or his different needs. Like he grunts in a certain way and even turns his head slightly, and my family goes, oh, take Victor to the bathroom, immediately. Or he'll put his finger in the air and turn to the side, and that means I don't want that. And he has all sorts of other ways of being that other people wouldn't honestly understand.
He sometimes uses technology to communicate.
Now he uses touch chat, and he uses it sometimes at home. If he's upset, we grab it and see if he'll point to something.
The family is unsure of Victor's cognitive level.
Victor's true intelligence is difficult to measure, mostly due to his speech difficulties and motor difficulties. We do presume competence, and I believe that he understands much of what I say, but we continue to presume competence, and we talk to Victor just as if he was any other 18-year-old boy.
Victor has lots of hobbies.
He started attending a day program for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and it's really quite wonderful. It's an arts-based program. This is a piece of art Victor made several years ago. So Victor is very sensory. He loves to see things that spin or make noise or light up or even move in the wind. He loves flags, for example. He often likes to reach out with a desire to touch those things, feel the sensation of the spinning or the music or something even vibrating. And he really tends to explore his environment all the time. He encourages me to notice, take account of every little thing. For example, to listen to water running or to feel that sensation.
People with Pitt-Hopkins share some physical traits.
A broad mouth, a broad base of the nose. They have fetal pads, which kind of means on their fingers and toes, that means that there's a bit of a point on their fingertips. And then they have cupid-shaped full lips, especially a full lower lip, and they're usually small in stature. And Victor has deep-set eyes. A lot of those features that are characteristic to Pitt-Hopkins contribute to his beauty, and my family in the past has referred to Pitt-Hopkins syndrome as Pitt-Handsome syndrome, just because so many of the children with Pitt-Hopkins end up being really, really cute or handsome or beautiful.
Francesca attends Princeton University and is majoring in psychology. She will return home after graduating from the Ivy League school to help care for Victor.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
It's the only life I know. And for example, when I left for college, I remember first getting there. My mom took me, dropped me off, and I sat in my room and I was like, there's no schedule and thing to do, and I don't even know what to do now. And it was freeing in some ways, but I also just kind of prefer being with Victor, and I prefer our lifestyle of spending time together. Honestly, I do experience a lot of guilt just because Princeton is very, very far from my home. Really, I have to fly, and I often have guilt for doing things that don't include him or that I know he wouldn't be able to do.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia. I'm Victor and Francesca's sister.
Their sister Sophia, another Princeton grad, has chosen the same caretaking path.
My sister and I decided from a young age that we wanted to be Victor's lifelong caregivers. Since my sister and I were in elementary school, we started talking about and planning what our lives would be like as Victor's caregivers in the future. Caregiving for Victor makes me very happy, and that I can certainly be happy like that. And I'm so lucky to have the resources to be able to caregive for him in a way that fulfills me. Although I do encourage myself to make the most of my experiences while I'm young, I wouldn't want others to think that I won't be enjoying the time of my life when I'm with Victor and the time that I might be with Victor as a full-time caregiver, because I realize that it is completely possible to love your life and to create a beautiful life for yourself in any circumstance.
She has zero regrets about this decision.
From the time that maybe I was in third grade, I recognized, I feel very different from my peers because I know I have different experiences. While those experiences that I might enjoy at 21 years old, like dating, partying, I do that too. And caregiving for Victor doesn't hold me back from that. And I think that's really special that I have the opportunity to be able to do all of these things and be my brother's best friend too. But at the end of the day, I do know what is most important to me, and that's spending time with my brother while he's here and making the most of that and making the most of my life.
The North Carolina family has made the most of their lives with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome.
When you're in the middle of something really, really hard, it seems like that feeling is going to last forever. After a couple of years, we really started to accept the situation and to, start to accept Victor for who he is.
They now educate others.
Starting the Pitt-Hopkins Research Foundation, feeling like we were going to do something instead of have something really hard happen to us. Okay, well, what can we do about it? We started fundraising to get that information out to other families to give them hope. Let's say you have a 3-month-old baby that was going to be diagnosed, and then, you got all this really difficult information that they wouldn't be able to do things. Well, would you push them to try or get those therapies for them and really, really work on that as a family? That's why we first started the foundation.
Francesca recently began sharing Victor's journey on social media.
I wanted some of my friends to be able to better understand me, and some of that I was able to capture in this creative way. And my life at home is just so different, and it's really hard for me to explain in words. And Victor got very sick this fall. I shared a wish list of the things that he wants within just a few hours. Everything was bought, and Victor has had his life enriched so much by the social media page.
Present explosion.
Can you even believe this? The feeling of gratitude really, really set in really fast for me. Just seeing so many people share their love for our life and share their love for my brother was so inspiring to me.
Francesca's primary goal is to educate others on how fulfilling caregiving is.
I hope that the little girls like me that are sibling caregivers, that they can see that caregiving is actually beautiful and is actually wonderful, and that it wouldn't be a sad life after all. I want families like mine and people with disabilities, families that are going through hard times, caregivers, really everybody who is having a struggle. I want them to know that the work that they're doing, especially caregiving, is important and it's beautiful and that it's appreciated. And I also want people to know that the future can be so bright. You can turn something that's really challenging into something that you are incredibly proud of. And it's been totally possible for my family to build a beautiful life from something that was at first really hard, and we thrive, and I'm really proud of us for that.
Francesca wants people to know that even though Victor's life isn't typical, it's not any less fulfilling.
I hope people know that he understands so much, and even though it's very easy to underestimate someone who you can't verbally communicate with, if you just give him a chance, as over 150,000 people have online, he can change your life with positivity as he has done for me. His life isn't worse, it's only different. And I realize that Victor isn't on my same path, and so he doesn't have to do those same things. He's actually on the road less traveled, and there's something really beautiful about that.
For more information on Pitt-Hopkins, visit the Pitt-Hopkins Research Foundation at pitthopkins.org. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.